I saw this one coming a mile away. Saw it coming a mile away. Even with all that, even with me having my fun, knowing it's not fun for the Jets, knowing it's not fun for Adam Gase to have some crazy, wild-ass defensive coordinator he had no choice but to fire. Even though I said they all broke Sam Darnold, even though I had my fun with Dabo Swinney last week, asking him where Trevor's registered upon hearing he's about to get married and asking, hey, how's Trevor doing? Even though I'm having all that much fun, I still wasn't even prepared for what I saw yesterday. And I know I should be prepared. We had a caller finish up our week last week saying, hey, the Seahawks going to blow out the Jets, because I can't handle another Seahawk nail biter. We need one of those rocking chair games. I told him, don't worry about it. I told him, don't worry about it, because Jamal Adams was going to make sure that he was going to make the Jets pay. And I knew that Greg Williams wasn't going to be there to go up to DK Metcalf before the game and talk about Megatron. Had my fun with that. Even with all that, wasn't prepared. I am a 51-year-old man. I've been rooting for the Jets as long as I can remember. I don't recall anything worse than Sunday.
Sorry, Rich Eisen.
I looked up through NFL Network research. It's the 18th loss the Jets have suffered in their suffering history of 37 points or worse. I was wondering. So I've seen the Jets lose by 37 or worse before. But I looked it up as well. The 0-14 Bucks in 1976 never lost by 37 points. I looked it up. The Cleveland Browns of 2016, who went 0-16, never lost by 37 points. I looked it up. The Lions team in 2008 that went 0-16, I looked that up. They lost by 37 once. And that was their worst loss. But it wasn't to make them 0-13. And it wasn't against a former coach in Pete Carroll. It wasn't against the last guy that they drafted that we thought would be the culture changer in Jamal Adams, who they traded mid-season as opposed to prior to the season to try and get people in there or draft choices in there for Sam Darnold. It was done in the middle of the season. And just to rub the salt in the wound, for you-know-whats and giggles, let's put Geno Smith in there to finish it up. I sat there. I was literally looking for a poop sandwich right around me because that's what I was eating. It was dreadful. It was terrible. It was unacceptable. You could talk about all of that. New defensive coordinator, Frank Bush, tu salud, sir. You trying to take over this team. There was one time Tyler Lockett was wide open right over the middle. Russell Wilson had to be like, you know what? This isn't cooking. This is not cooking. This is like, meal ready to eat. Like they were handing out MREs. Like I had DK Metcalf in fantasy. You know what this felt like? With the way the Jets were playing defense, this felt like Russell Wilson just having his pick of the litter. But what it felt like is sitting at a poker table with a donkey, donkeying off chips, and you just hope you have a hand. Right. You hope you got to have a hand because this donkey is going to donkey off chips because he's so terrible or she's so terrible at the game. You just got to have a hand. You just got to be in it because you got to win it. And it was just like, okay, here's Swain, you got a touchdown. And Carson, you got a touchdown. And Moore, you got a touchdown. And name it. Everybody had a touchdown. And I'm like, I need more. I felt like I'm sitting at a table, somebody's donkeying off chips. And then I figured, you know what? The Jets are that casino handing out chips to everybody. Literally, the Desert Inn had heart, to use the Lost in America phrase yesterday, with the Jets. I could not handle it another second, but I watched all of it. I even heard Rich Gannon, who was on the game, say that he spoke to DK Metcalf earlier in the week, and DK was just like, you know what? All of these games, we've been winning tough games. We need an easy game. I think we're going to have one this week. That's what DK Metcalf told an actual football player that's turned to broadcaster, and Rich Gannon. And Gannon's like, okay, I got it. You know what Gannon was talking about at the end of the game yesterday, just because there was nothing else to talk about? He was talking about how he was sitting there watching this game, and one of the hits looked like a car crash, and he was talking about how he witnessed a car crash outside of his window of his hotel room and was a good Samaritan and helped people out. Literally 45 seconds over the Jets losing with Geno Smith playing. Rich Gannon's talking about a car accident. It was as low as I've ever seen it. And all I can say is I just had to take to Twitter and I tweeted it out. I just said, Jets fans, take heart. Take heart, Jets fans, because no matter how tough this is, we are one step closer to the kid who can quickly change things around to be generationally enjoyable. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And all of this stuff about Bill Cowher and is he really interested and is he not? All of that stuff. There is no way that Bill Cowher would even be remotely interested if Trevor Lawrence wasn't in this mix. I don't want to hear it's not Sam Darnold's fault completely, and it's not. But it's definitely Sam Darnold's fault. He's not Trevor Lawrence because no coach is going to say, I'll absolutely go to that dumpster fire. I'll absolutely ride my wagon to an organization that just clearly can't get it right and will let me sit out there when I'm begging to be fired. I'll go and coach for that organization for Justin Fields, with all due respect. And I don't know what to say with all due respect beforehand, but nobody's Trevor Lawrence. So that's what I say when they've got to go get Trevor Lawrence, because the only way the top coaching candidates will even twitch in the direction of the Jets, as opposed to maybe go to Houston, where there's Deshaun Watson, or maybe go to here in Los Angeles, where there's Justin Herbert. No way will they go in the Jets' direction if Trevor Lawrence is not involved. They got to lose the last three. And I even tweeted this out, too. Again, this was my therapy. I just put out asking all former and current NFL players who see this, what must a 6-hour plane flight home for an 0-13 team that just lost by 37 points sound like? I've been on some bad team planes before. I was on that Los Angeles Rams team plane back here to do a show after Jared Goff had his first career start and got smoked up in Seattle, just destroyed. And, it was the end of the Steve Fisher era. He had just been fired. It was Fossil's kid, now the special teams coordinator for Dallas, who was the interim head coach. Remember all that?
Yep.
Gurley was talking about a high school offense and everything.
That's right.
Had no idea. Right around the corner, here comes Sean McVay, and we don't think about that anymore. In the same way, we will not think about this anymore if Trevor Lawrence comes. Jay Feely gave like the thinking emoji, but that was in response to Akbar talking about drinking and card games and joking. They checked out 3 weeks ago. I would disagree with that because they almost beat the Raiders. Rich Gannon responded, wouldn't know. Wouldn't know. Because it's never happened before. Sean O'Hara.
The Jack Donaghy meme.
The Jack Donaghy meme of drinking. Here's my favorite one. You got Kyle Long there? Put Kyle Long up there. This is fantastic. This is as good as far as I can get. Yep, gummy. Yep, because you got to dull the senses. You got to dull the senses to get through this moment. You got to dull the senses to get through this moment. But I'm telling you, when I was on that Rams flight, nobody was thinking this thing is going to get not only going to get turned around so fast, we're going to turn it around with the coach that the rest of the league is want to copycat and get one of their own. And then Les Snead, as we know, has now got the roster younger, and who is sitting right there with an opportunity to not only win the division, but take that 1 seed, because the Packers and the Saints are only 1 game in front of him, the LA Rams. So I'm going to take solace in the fact that it's right there. The hard work is done. The Rams cannot wait for the Jets to, by the way, who went home because of COVID. They initially were going to stay out here on the West Coast. They went home. Now they're going to go all the way back and take on the Rams. We're going to dismantle them. And then the problem is this. For you Jets fans, us Jets fans, here comes Cleveland. You better not mess with us, Cleveland. You better not mess with us. Come on, Baker. Come on in and do what you need to do and get the hell out. I don't want your trap door opening up for my trap door to open. My last concern, again, is Belichick, week 17. That's a talker, right?
That's a talker.
That's a talker.
I have no explanation for what happened.
But it's right there. So it's right around the corner, Jets fans. And it can happen. It can happen to us. Believe it. Let's all band together. But that was beyond a tough watch. Toughest watch I've ever had as a Jet fan yesterday. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.